Hey, Cloud Zero heroes. Well, come on in the space and welcome to FinOps in Full Bloom. I'm Thalia, your friendly neighborhood fam. And today we have someone who is absolutely delightful and intellectual with a little mix of engineering in there, CEO style. Erik Norman. I'm going to read his bio, so be with me when I read this card because Erik sent it to me and it was hilarious. But let's all give a greeting. Hi, Erik.
Hiya, how are you doing?
Do you mind if I read your bio word for word?
Go ahead.
All right. Caligo CEO and founder, congratulations. Erik Norman is a FinOps troublemaker, the useful kind. Operating from Italy, he insists on being a contractor. Consultants are the reason there are so many features in PowerPoint. So true. He loves to call out BS. He doesn't believe in cost optimization or tagging strategies. We have to talk about this. Software engineer by heart, he loves to deep dive, find and unlock bottlenecks and cost issues. He thrives within the FinOps community where he mentors and peers and juniors. Every sentence, Erik. Like, I don't know how you write this. You speak the way you write. It's so authentic and succinct.
I think it's the other way around. I write the way I speak.
Oh, well, then there you go. It's so intriguing. I'd love to know more. Do you have anything else you'd like to share after I read your bio?
Yeah, we can take it apart little by little. I am a troublemaker because I speak my mind. And that doesn't always go down very well. But I'm learning. I'm old, but I'm learning to fine tune it to the required needs and the situation. The other thing is, I said I don't believe in cost optimization and in tagging strategies. Let's say we wanted to optimize for costs. Then I would shut down everything, fire everyone, 100% cost save, done. Where's my bonus? Right? So, unless we talk about, with a lot of nuance and context, about optimizing costs within a certain frame where we want to keep the performance at the same levels and then reduce cost, then only then cost optimization exists as a thing. But you have put a lot of context and information around there, and that's the problem. Often, if you contact customers, they want cost optimization, and they think FinOps is only cost optimization. Sometimes you have to even increase costs because you are running, to cut to the bone, basically, right? You need
Yes.
to have more performance because otherwise you have service degradation and failure. And so you don't lose customers anymore. So sometimes you need to increase cost to actually increase revenue and efficiency down the line. So cost is irrelevant unless you give it a lot of context.
A lot of context. And I think starting off so spicy by coming into a FinOps room and saying, like, I don't believe in cost optimization. And for the engineers in the back, I don't know if I'll gain friends or not. I don't believe in tagging. I mean, but you also have a be happy with your
Correction. I don't
cost.
believe in tagging strategies.
Okay.
It's not a strategy. You don't tag for the sport of it, right? Tagging is not a sport.
Say more.
Tagging is a necessity because the strategy that we want to have is transparency and cost allocation.
Oh, absolutely. So,
But I hear so many teaching their tagging strategy. No, there is no tagging strategy. It's not a strategy. It's a policy. It's a practice.
absolutely. I think that we can just do infrastructure as code and call it a day. Like, let's
Hmm.
just do a compliance check. Let's script what we need to tag and in the next couple sprints with every push
Mm.
of a feature, we should be set
Mhm.
here, you know. But
And
it's
and
challenging.
yeah, it
How?
is. And I oftentimes also start with naming conventions before I start even tagging. Because if
Yes.
you have named all your accounts and resources and stuff, you oftentimes don't even need the tags programmatically to know what you're dealing with. But
Actually, that's
obviously,
absolute
yeah.
genius. I do love that. I have a governance that I gave, I write it out and I wrote it in an article that I posted on LinkedIn just this week, actually, I think, about AI and
Mhm.
specifically naming conventions so that we can track from what the purpose is, the function, what the feature is, what the output is it successful, unsuccessful?
Mhm.
That way, if you have an actual chatbot for product A and you're thinking of about a chatbot for product B, if you've tracked all of those processes and added a naming convention, now you can check the cost for that. And then
Mhm.
you can create product B based on those resources and check and see, hey, how is this flowing? Can we
Mhm.
optimize? So I think that
Mhm.
you and your entire company is really focused on, can I say cost optimization? Can I say this?
Within the context and the nuance that we agree on, yes.
Okay, then
I'm an expert in cost optimization once the context is set.
once the context is set. And I think it's purposeful. It was really
Mhm.
interesting when I send a guest intake form, people, so that I can gather, your insights and what's really focused in your mind. And one of the things that we talked about was a transformation story. So we're going into the
Mhm.
transformation story segment, and I wanted to capture this story that you shared with me. A snapshot of it is all the FinOps things have been done.
Yeah.
Check. But costs are still soaring. So the people in the room are not happy, but they're also
Mhm.
confused. And
Mhm.
so, how do you take on cost optimization, the concept that we're talking about, when all the FinOps strategies have been implemented? Where do you go from there?
Well, I would say follow the value rather than the money,
Mm. Now, what does that
because the
mean?
in this particular context, it meant that the workloads were not providing any value as such, or very little value.
Really?
So the business value of these workloads that were, I think, over 1,000 times more expensive than the
Wow.
original estimate before migration. So 1,000 times off. Um,
It's
the
hot.
the trick
That's
was
just
simple. There was no communication basically between the teams other than they just sent around requirements and specifications, as in, so the operations team said we have a cloud backend that receives this much requests per month, more or less, per tenant, and that's it. Okay, so build it to those specifications. And the thing is that the team that actually had no cost impact at all, which were the desktop application developers,
okay.
had done this thing, then rather than how can I say, waiting for an input or a change to happen and update once, they asked every second something like, is there a change? Almost like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Yeah.
So per client application, as in per client device, that's 2.6 million requests per month,
Yes.
right?
Woo.
If you have 10 of those in one site, then imagine what the backend is going through just to stay up to date with something that you should really never have happened, right?
I need some water. I need some water. This it's just hot in here when you talk
And the
about
thing is,
these.
since everyone just tracked the costs of the cloud backend, nobody looked at the desktop application that was actually the cause of it.
Ah, so the full pipeline, the full infrastructure. And then so are we talking about, was it desktop, on-prem, or SaaS as well?
On-prem. So
So oh
it
wow,
was
wow, wow.
a retail. It was stores, retail, right?
Wow.
So these were these huge stores, many of them, and every tenant had, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 10 stores at least,
Oh,
and all of these desktops in their POS machines basically
this is
bombarded the cloud backend the whole time. So nobody questioned the architecture. It even would pass the well architected framework review with honors. It was
what?
very well designed. Yeah, the backend was very well designed for that kind of workloads pressure.
How
So that
okay,
was
so we got to deep dive this one. How did you because I mean honestly, I know neighbors, it's a FinOps horror story right now. It's going to have a happy ending. The numbers are amazing. But I just need to get to the path. I'll give you the ending now so you don't freak out, team. 98.4% you said, was it, Eric? Cost
yeah.
reduction. So the question is, How and where did you notice to go to on-prem? Did you follow the white rabbit? Like,
I did just, how can I say, take the specifications for granted. I asked, what is the business value behind every specification?
nice.
So rather than saying we'll have 10 million requests per month,
Ah,
I asked, what for? So what's the purpose of these requests? And then I started looking into it and I realized they were all the same request and all the same answer. Basically, is there an update? No. Is there an update? No. Is there an update? No. So that
oh.
was the problem number one. And it was easily, actually took them one afternoon to fix this, more or less, as a proof of concept. Because rather, rather than having a loop that says get an update, they subscribe to a notification when there was an update.
So instead of they get a push notification instead of just pulling and tapping and pinging all day.
Yep.
What? Listen.
Yep. Yeah. Now you know why I measure my workday quality in what the fucks per minute.
And I needed you to share. Literally, the only thing I left out, everyone, is one sentence that you measure your workday quality by WTF per minute. But when you ask that question, you know
Mhm,
this what? TF.
mhm,
You can
mhm,
say, you learn,
mhm,
wow, you're creating a process that is unnecessary, and with one request for push notifications you have streamlined these millions of requests. Unreal. So then I asked you, what tools did you use, and you're basically saying my brain.
Yeah, yeah. I used Outlook, if you want to know, to ask the questions via email. That was my tool.
So questions, and then that was one of the issues that you solved. Like, the problem really seemed like communication silo,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm,
and these teams weren't talking. They were looking for the checkbox. Got it, got it, got
mhm,
it. Look at my award. I got the best infrastructure design in the world right here.
mhm,
And then really not knowing who's doing what, but it sounds like really why you're doing what.
mhm.
And that is potent because you really, when you said, I asked you, what tools did you use? And you said, none. How dare you? How very dare you? So FinOps is a culture for you. It really seems like you're really the people powered part is where
Mhm,
you're diving in. Even the last part of your intro, I feel like we're going to the story and then going back to your intro. You love talking to your peers and to
mhm.
juniors. Is that what FinOps is for you? Culture and people?
Yeah. Um, and obviously the communication, because without communication, we could not talk. Without communication, we could not define what we agree on. And that's something that oftentimes is missing. And that is, when you leave gaps in the documentation, then people will fill those gaps with their own interpretation. So in many companies, what I see is there's basic product management artifacts are missing. So in this case, it was just a note that we found in a Slack message somewhere that basically said that the cloud backend should do this. There was none who actually are taking the responsibility of owning what it is the technical decisions leading up to that product was. So basically, it ended out in, yeah, I have no specification, but I'm looking at what I found in the Slack message. And so I take that as a specification, but basically, the cloud backend team took that as golden input
Wow.
rather than really questioning it. So it was several what the Fs. Um,
Yeah. So the cautionary tale that,
yeah,
or which you
and
would
also
caution against.
it was also a, how can I say, cultural issue that you often find with legacy developers and product managers, and that is, I don't know the cloud, and I
Mm.
don't want to know it, and I'm proud of it.
Yes.
So, yep.
What is
So that they
that?
don't want to know. So they say we do our stuff, and the cloud team does their stuff, and that also created this chasm between them. And
Yes.
so they just said, we are going to send you 10 million requests per month. rather than saying, let's work together and make a hybrid architecture between on-prem, offline workloads that have a server and stuff like that, and make it work with the cloud as a backend stuff.
You know,
So
that's really
rather than sitting
interesting.
down and talk, they just send, "Oh, we continue to do our stuff. You can do your stuff."
And those two shall never meet.
Yeah,
Boo! It's not
yeah.
gonna work. You know, interesting. I was listening to an interview for the CEO of Accenture. And,
Mhm,
a team, Accenture neighbors, just so you know, if you don't know, Accenture gives recommendations on organizations on how to be more efficient, right? So the way that Caligo gives recommendations for your finance
mhm,
operations on how to use automation so that you can have and ensure cost optimization. Accenture looks at your business and looks for ways for the teams to work efficiently. And so the CEO, uh, Julie Sweet, she's amazing. I mean, first woman CEO at Accenture. Also,
mhm.
17 years as a lawyer, first woman in her firm. I mean, she's a powerhouse, and that's why she came on. There's a Fortune 500 podcast, and I think it's called Titans and Titans. And let me see if I get the note. Oh, I can't think of it right. Titans and Disruptors. You would
Mhm.
be on this. So, really, honestly, you're a disruptor in the way that you talk about disrupting these stagnant thoughts. And so one thing she noted was some things that are helping companies to fail when it comes to implementing AI is this concept of collaboration in just these cross collaboration committees, but people aren't talking. They really aren't having valuable conversations. Legacy tools are just
Mhm.
adopting AI instead of really asking the value. She really focused. So the two of you on the same line of what's the value of your action? Don't just
Indeed.
create another team and say this is AI focused team. Know what the business value is. And that's really what you're putting forth. Instead of focusing on cutting costs, ask, what is the purpose of everything? Did I capture that correctly?
Yep.
Yeah. So she's talking about bolting new tech. This idea of bolting, hot take segment. What do you think of that concept of just saying, you know, now we're thinking about bolting new tech onto old services or legacy services? Is that the path? Because as a software engineer and as an engineer, you're going to constantly evolve. There's going to be something you build that's older, and you're
Mhm.
going to introduce new concepts. So, how do you have that flow?
Well, I would definitely distinguish between different software cultures here. There are legacy developers that stay legacy, as in they don't learn anything new
Mm,
and develop the same way for 20 years.
yeah.
On that kind of software, it will be almost impossible to bolt anything on without breaking it. But if you have developers that realize that they have to stay on top of things and learn new things the whole time, then they will probably also have applications that are, yeah, more or less up to date, and where you actually can do integrate new stuff like AI or integrate microservices or remote services, cloud services, whatever.
Do you find
So
yourself integrating accountability? Is that what you're integrating?
no, I'm now specifically talking more about technical debt. Like, let's say that you have learned a program language and it's not even no longer supported. So are you going to learn something new, or are you sticking to the old ways forever? And that is basically where the fork in the way is. You cannot go, you have to choose. Either you update or you don't. And plenty of these applications are 20 or even 30 years old. And it does not work to simply break them up and integrate something that has been designed 3 decades later. There is a clash in architecture, how things pull. Also, the example from before, the desktop application was really old. They on a local machine, it doesn't cost you anything to constantly pull the database for data. because it does caching and everything. So, it works.
Aha.
It works. It doesn't. It costs them actually more work to think of event-based distributed systems. It's much more complex. They can't wrap their heads around that. They are not
No.
used to it.
So then
So
that
in
comes
that's
in with you because basically Julie Sweet was saying it's up to CEOs to reframe workflows and
Mhm,
to demand measurable business value. So you're
mhm,
sitting at the same table as this conversation, and I love that you're, as a leader, I mean, the CEO of a company and a founder, that's the
mhm,
that's the mind of the company and the vision for you to say, we need to think new. That's
mhm.
disruptor quality right there. And thank you. Because like, we do have legacy thoughts, just like you're
Yeah.
mentioning. So then what seeds are you planting? We're shifting into the FinOps and full bloom section. What
Mhm.
seeds are you planting right now?
Well, I think at the moment I'm more collecting seeds that I already planted. Because the thing is, how can I frame this? There are over 200 services on AWS. I know how many on Azure. There are how many on GCP. I've lost count. Okay, I can't even name them all, and I'll call anyone a bullshitter who just tells they can name them. The thing is, how can we stay on top of that? We cannot. Otherwise, I would just be learning every day what's new with the services, right? So what I do is, with every team that I lead, I let them come up with the ideas about their technology and how to use that. And if I have an idea that's outdated, I'm happy because that means that I learned because they did the work for me, right? Otherwise,
That's
how can we
amazing.
lead? I mean, I know it's easy to when you are sorry. Let me rephrase this. If the only reason that you're right is because you're the boss, then you're right for the wrong reason, right?
If the
So
only
I
reason you're right is because you're the boss, you're right for the wrong reason.
yeah, that's
I
how
need
I
to
see it.
quote that. You're a quotable. This is like the second or third thing that you said, Eric, that is really it's wisdom in such a small like proverbs that you give.
Mm,
And I think that's what would make you so potent as a mentor to
mhm.
someone. So what do you nurture? Are you nurturing these relationships with peers and mentors?
Yep.
That's your focus in the FinOps
But it
community?
has also been disruptive for them.
Yes.
Actually, two of my mentees got fired because of their ideas.
Really?
Yeah.
Yikes.
One because of the ideas, and the other one had too much success, actually. Yeah, the thing is, imagine this person, okay?
Yes.
Not even 30 years old, first FinOps role ever, running a solo FinOps practice in a large company. Obviously, nobody took him seriously. He didn't have
Yeah.
the street cred to
Yeah.
go to engineers and tell them what to do and stuff. And also, execs level obviously didn't invite him to anything. And basically, he saw no way to reach his goals, basically,
Yeah.
right? So, what I told him is, yeah, don't go to the engineers and tell them how to do it. Ask them how you can help them.
Yes.
And they were desperate because they didn't meet their targets and budgets and stuff. So he just looked at them and say, "Hey, there are some tools, stuff you could look into, but we need to work on this together because I don't have all the experience that you have." And basically, he maneuvered them. Don't want to say manipulated. He maneuvered them
Yes.
into looking into stuff, and they got really significant cost savings and were super happy. So that success story spread like wildfire, and others suddenly wanted to talk to him, right?
I love
And
this.
so, yeah, and so rather than spamming recommendation emails, which, by the way, if you want another quote, I call them love letters
Yeah.
because they are love letters because only if the counterpart is positively inclined will you have a positive reaction, right?
I'm in love with your love letters. It's true. So this ended up being a happy ending, and I think they
The happy
probably
ending was after 13 months, he had outperformed FinOps team of four in a similar company. and they were all seniors. He had outperformed them after 1 year. The problem was he was fired after 1 year.
They said, well, you fulfilled your,
Now, FinOps is no longer needed.
there you go.
And
You fulfilled your job. Thank you so
now
much.
they hired another one immediately afterwards. So I think he stepped on someone's toes.
Yeah, that sounds like it could be. But your tip to empower and engage the engineers, that's
Mhm.
key. That's absolutely
Yeah,
crucial.
that was the only way to do anything.
And to spark their curiosity and their ability to knowledge share, because engineers they
Mhm.
love, knowledge sharing. They love learning, and then someone else who wants to learn. It's one of those things I've learned, like, it's a
Mhm.
spark. And so I thought that was the gem that you gave as a mentor. And so you mentioned that he bloomed in his area by cost savings, and the end, right, the happy ending to your story, your transformation story that we were sharing with these silos, is that 98.4% cost savings. How did you measure that? Where did you find that number?
Costs before and afterwards.
That's it. Bottom
Yeah,
lines.
bottom lines.
Boom. Mic drop.
Well, there was one other issue that led to being very difficult to apply the typical FinOps strategies like right sizing or right sizing basically. And that was, imagine this store, right? They close at night. So they had configured for every store to upload their daily transactions
Okay.
at the same time. They all closed at, I don't know, 7 p.m. And then at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., they would all, at the same time, every store would send the data up to the backend at the same time.
That's
So
too.
if you look at it from a performance perspective and a cost and usage perspective in the dashboards and stuff, you have a spiky workload
Hmm.
that's already cut to the bone, and there is no way to right size that. So in that sense, yeah, just by randomizing the uploads, we could distribute that over a couple of hours,
Fan
and that was it.
Fantastic. Second solution, randomizing the workloads and then changing the on-prem ping to a push note. I like you. I knew I liked you. Okay, so you get it done a lot. One of the last lighter questions, what's on your get it done playlist? You need to get something done. What are you listening to?
I would say so. The thing is, if I focus on work, I
Mhm.
love to have background music. And I have one album that I actually find extraordinary because you can blast it into your headphones and appreciate every note. And it's also the perfect background music.
What is it?
It's called Tudo Bem.
Oh, I
Um,
love this Brazilian music.
yep. With the guitar player Joe Pass. He's a jazz player.
Oh, I absolutely love bossa nova, jazz. It's
Mhm.
it's what I listen to. Like, when I need to get it done, it's Prince. But when I just wanna, like, bliss out, let's say I'm doing scripting or something like that,
Mhm.
telemetry,
Mhm.
unit cost, it's bossa nova jazz. Look at us. You're in Italy listening to this. So Tudo Bem, we're gonna be in
Yeah.
Philly and Italy just listening to bossa. I
Well,
love that.
it's definitely not workout music. Definitely not. But
No,
but
actually, I do
just
soca for that. Do you work out?
hmm? No, not at the moment, at least.
You don't ride a bike? You seem like you'd be a bike rider. No?
Um, the thing is, where I live at the moment, I have no place to put my bike. And a
Oh.
couple of years ago, it was stolen, and I haven't
Oh,
had the
no.
heart yet to buy a new one
I know
because,
how that
or
feels,
otherwise, I should have to put it into my apartment every time.
but that's not gonna work. Well, I loved speaking with you. I have one more question. Because we're in a Cloud Zero FinOps in full blooms, do you know about Cloud Zero? Have you come across Cloud Zero?
I haven't had the pleasure yet to implement it at my customers, but It's one of my favorite tools that I can recommend customers. Yes.
Hot take. Erik Norman's one of his favorite tools is Cloud Zero.
Yep.
Shameless plug. Shameless.
Shameless.
So, would you be a Cloud Zero hero and consider collaborating and offering Cloud Zero as one of the tools? Would that sound like
You don't need to ask. I'm already doing that. So,
I think everyone's going to be happy about this when I go back and tell the team. It has been delightful. Your energy, your
likewise.
authenticity, um, your wisdom, the way it comes in these pithy proverbs. I enjoy being in your space, and I'm so glad that you decided to come into this space. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you want to say goodbye to
For having me.
everyone?
It was a pleasure.
All right,
See
see
ya.
you later, heroes.